Welcome to the Untold Science Women in STEM podcast series, sponsored by the NYUAD Fund for Inclusion and Innovation Committee for the academic year 23-24. This series is an initiative to foster gender inclusivity in science, regionally and worldwide. It's to bring inspiring talks and conversations with pioneering women who have significantly contributed to the world of science. Each episode offers open dialogue with visionaries who do more than join the conversation. They drive transformative change in their fields in each possible way they can. Whether you are part of the science community or simply curious about the research shaping our future, we hope you will find interesting and insightful conversations. I'm Enas Qudeimat, your host and the Research Administration and Outreach Lead at the Center for Genomics and Systems Biology at NYU Abu Dhabi. I have a background in plant molecular biology, focusing on how plants respond and adapt to environmental stresses. My research experience has spanned several countries, including Germany, Belgium, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the UAE. Beyond my lab work, I'm passionate about science education and public engagement. As a scientist, communicator, and a mother, I am dedicated to making science exciting and accessible to everyone. This podcast is a platform to share stories of amazing women who are not just overcoming challenges, but also making significant advancement in their field. Today, we'll set the stage for the series by diving into the current state of women in science, the challenges they face, and the incredible benefits of a more inclusive scientific community. Let's start with where we stand today. Did you know that women make up less than a third of the world's researchers? This figure has increased slightly from previous years, showing slow but steady progress. Despite this, women remain underrepresented in science, especially at senior levels. What does this mean for our future innovations and scientific discoveries? It's important, while looking at numbers, to recognize women's scientific contributions, such as those of Jennifer Doudna. She is one of the pioneers of the CRISPR gene editing technology, a revolutionary tool that has transformed genetic research and earned her a Nobel Prize in 2020. Regardless of their achievements, women in science face significant barriers. A science study published in 2020 found that their research is less likely to be funded. Yet, when it is, it tends to be more innovative. Personal stories highlight systematic bias and lack of mentorship. Additionally, a Nature study published in 2022 revealed that women are 13% less likely to be named as authors on scientific papers and 59% less likely on patents. Julia Lane from NYU noted, "There is a clear gap between the rate at which women and men are named as co-authors on publications. This gap is strong, persistent, and independent of the research field." Isn't that surprising? This disparity spans all scientific disciplines. Moving to cultural and regional differences in representation of women in science. Did you know that in Central Asia, nearly half of the researchers are women? This shows impressive gender parity. According to the study, this is largely due a strong cultural emphasis on education for all. In contrast, only about 27% of researchers in East Asia and the Pacific are women, due to cultural barriers and limited access to STEM education. In the Middle East and Arab countries, 41% of researchers are women, which is above the global average. Countries like the UAE and Qatar have significantly promoted STEM education for women. The UAE's National Strategy for Higher Education 2030 focuses on gender parity in higher education and research. Understanding these regional dynamics help us see where targeted efforts can drive global progress in gender equity in science. How can we learn from regions with higher female participation in science? Together, we will learn what more can be done to overcome cultural barriers and other factors. Why does this diversity matter? Research shows that diverse teams are not only more innovative, but also produce research that is more cited and impactful. An analysis published in 2022 in Nature Human Behavior demonstrated that gender-diverse teams publish more widely cited papers. Such teams are often better at problem solving because they bring a variety of perspectives that challenge the status quo. So, imagine the breakthrough we can achieve together. What steps should be taken to foster inclusivity in science? So what can be done? There are shining examples of initiatives that have made significant impacts. An example is the initiative by the National Science Foundation in the US to increase the number of female faculty members in science and engineering. These programs not only support women, but also create a more dynamic scientific community for everyone. How can we expand such successful programs globally? Additionally, surveys show that women and other historically marginalized groups often need to exert significantly more effort for their contributions to be recognized. How can we use this data to create a fairer recognition system in research? As someone who has navigated these challenges, I believe in the power of conversation and action to drive recognition and equitable treatment. This podcast aims to highlight these critical issues and inspire change by sharing the often untold stories of remarkable women and shedding light on these disparities. We can all help build a more inclusive scientific community. Thank you for joining me today. In our next episode, we will dive deeper into these topics with our first guest, who will share her journey and innovation she leads. Don't forget to follow our podcast and join us in the Untold Science. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.